A lot of people are saying that Terence Crawford's victory over Israel Madrimov wasn't that impressive. Some people are even saying that they think he got exposed in a way, and he's not as good as people expect. Now, the idea that Terence Crawford got exposed against Madrimov is ridiculous because he won a close fight, and at the top level in boxing or any sport, you're going to have close fights. So that's ridiculous. Terence Crawford did not get exposed, but in terms of him not winning as clearly as he has in the past, yeah, I said in my post-fight video that Terence Crawford, he hasn't had a tough fight like this since, Yuri Gamboa, which is crazy to say because he has been fighting for so long and that was a long time ago. I mean, I can't remember the last time Crawford was pushed like this. He's knocked out every fighter he's fought at welterweight and light welterweight. I don't think he was really challenged that much by any fighter, but he had a very, shallow run at light welterweight. Not his fault, but the fighters there just weren't as good as the fighters nowadays, or a lot of them. So, yeah, Terence Crawford, he had a tough fight, but you get that at the top level. Now, in terms of him maybe reaching his ceiling, hence the thumbnail and title of this video, what did his victory prove in terms of how far he can move up? Well, I think it solidifies that he has definitely found his limit. I don't think Terence Crawford should move any higher than 154, because if there's one thing that the fight proved against a guy who has decent hand speed and movement and can move light on his feet, Terence Crawford is going to not find it easier when he moves up to middleweight. If he fights somebody who, again, has similar dimensions to Madrimov, then he is going to be in big trouble because the guys up there are going to be hitting a lot harder. And it's one thing to move up and fight guys who are older and slower and therefore fit your style better, but the guys who Terence Crawford could be fighting at middleweight, which is not as strong as it used to be, let's be real, a lot of them don't really fit that dimension. Like Ellen Hanuli, even though he isn't a prime Triple G in terms of, again, being a pressure fighter, Crawford is going to be really, really struggling if he is able to get caught the way he was against Madrimov. He didn't take any clean shots, any seriously clean damaging shots, but the punches that Madrimov did land were enough to keep Crawford honest. And again, that's just going to get harder the more he fights guys who are bigger and stronger and hit harder than Madrimov. So, yeah, the Canelo Alvarez fight, as many people are already saying, is a no-go. Terence Crawford should not go anywhere near him. Now, I was saying from the very start, the idea that Terence Crawford should be moving up 3 weight divisions, which is crazy, and, more than 11 pounds from welterweight to super middleweight, is crazy. I never believed that was really doable in a second. So, yeah, I was never for that fight anyway. Canelo Alvarez, I'm very critical of him and some of the opponents he fights, but he was in his right and he was being, correct in my opinion when he said, nah, that fight doesn't do anything for me. And a lot of people trying to coerce him into the fight, a lot of fans. It's to be expected, but that is one scenario where I sided with Canelo Alvarez. Terence Crawford, there is no way, in my opinion, he could move up to super middleweight and be as good and effective as he is at these current divisions he's fighting at. Because how can you? You put on 11 pounds of muscle, or maybe not 11 pounds of muscle, but his punches aren't going to have the same effect on Canelo, who has never been dropped before, and he's not going to be able to move the same way and fight at the same pace if he puts on size. So that fight to me was, again, completely ridiculous from the beginning, and this fight proves it. So, yeah, I think he should stay at light middleweight. I think there's some good options out there, like the light middleweight division is stacked and it's fresh. So if he wants to prove himself against these guys who aren't big cash cows, but he can get Mr. Turki Al-Sheikh to pay him well, then in my opinion, Terence Crawford is just going to boost his legacy more and more. and that's what we want to see great fighters do. So yeah, there's Tim Tszyu out there, there's Sebastian Fundora. That would be an interesting fight. And he closed the door on the Errol Spence rematch. Not like that fight was really open to, not like there was a chance that fight should have been in talks to begin with. But yeah, I think there's plenty of talent at 154 pounds that Crawford can test himself against. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below about how Terence Crawford may have found his limit. And we just saw it recently with Naoya Inoue, who won more decisively against Luis Neri, but he also was more vulnerable in the fight because he got dropped for the first time in his career. So yeah, great fighters. There's a limit for a reason. There's weight classes for a reason. Vasyl Lomachenko, who by the way, I'll do a video on him and his scuffle with Shakur Stevenson. So yeah, drop your thoughts down below about what this fight proved, and yeah, do you agree that Crawford should stay here, or do you think he should go back to 147? Let me know what you guys think. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for more as always.